Hey, you guys. All right. We have reached the conclusion of the Planets in the 11th House series with Pluto in the 11th house. Okay. So excited. One more house to go. And then we will have completed this series. So I just really want to thank everyone for coming with me on this journey so far. And just one more house left. We're doing it. So I just appreciate all the love and support and the engagement in the comments. You guys have been wonderful. Pluto in the 11th house is similar to having Pluto in Aquarius, which we about to be in soon, y'all, or having a Scorpio on the 11th house. So this kind of gives me a great opportunity to kind of discuss what Pluto in Aquarius might be as well. Because I always say Pluto in Aquarius, that's like, to me, the official like ushering in of the age of Aquarius. So we had Jupiter there, and now Saturn is there, and Pluto is making its way there by about, I think, 2025. So we're getting there. We're getting real, real close, okay? So Pluto in the 11th house, like, let's just remember that Pluto does have to deal with destruction. It does have to deal with evolution and transformation, getting rid of the trash, okay? Another person's trash is another person's treasure. Like, we got to purge. We got to binge this horrific type of shit. You know what I'm saying? So Pluto in the 11th house is all about revolution. This is a revolution-minded person. This is revolution-minded energy. This is definitely about the people and large groups and things like that. But Pluto in the 11th house is very much about, like, we're not about like reforming. Like, we just want to tear it down. We just want to shut it down. This is very much, I'm here for the, the smashing up the police cars energy and stuff like that. And I don't want to say looting and rioting, but really it's more for a purpose. You know what I'm saying? It's for a specific reason. It's to make a point. It's a form of protest to kind of like be violent and shake things up, or just to destroy things so that something new has to come. So that's kind of the energy of Pluto in the 11th. And that's kind of the energy of Pluto in Aquarius as well. Also, you have to understand that Pluto represents power. And we're talking about power of the people. Okay. So if you personally have this energy, you're a very powerful person. You're a very influential person. Like, when it comes to the internet and social media, like, nothing compares to you. No pun intended, to quote the song, but you are so magnetic. There's something so piercing about you. Like, people always want to hear what you have to say. Like, it's always something really profound. It's something really just like revolutionary, to be truthfully honest. And it's something that is specific, to you. You kind of get that infamous kind of title, with Pluto in the 11th house, as opposed to, the famous, not the famous, but the infamous. You know what I'm saying? So yeah, you're kind of dark and mysterious, and you may always be talking about conspiracy theories and, the world ending and what you need to go, kind of like Saturn in the 11th house, but more from like a solutions-based perspective, like not a fear perspective, because Pluto is not fearful. They're most certainly not fearful of death. Okay, Pluto energy is not fearful of death. They want to be respected, and they want to be most importantly with Pluto in the 11th house, they want to be respected for how they made a difference in the world, or for humanity, or as it pertains to technological advances or scientific advances and things like that. That's how they kind of want their legacy to be. The energy is very willful. It's very much about collaborative efforts. I think people forget that a little bit when they talk about Pluto. So the fact that Pluto is in a house where it has to deal with groups and organizations, this is kind of like the perfect energy for Pluto, because it's a natural collaborator. You know what I'm saying? And able to, merge ideas and things like that with other people. Now, Pluto in the 11th house is going to be kind of like the friend that is kind of like the all-powerful kind of energy. This may even be the friend that you're kind of intimidated by or like scared of. Like, I don't know if you should be intimidated by your friends, but you know how like sometimes your parents scare you and you're intimidated by your parents? It's kind of that same feeling. Like you still love them, but it's like, woo, I don't want to piss this motherfucker off. Like, cause woo, this is like, I don't want to get dark, but you know, when I talk about Pluto, I got to get dark, right? This energy is so loyal to their friends. They love their friends like family, for real, for real. But if you cross them, they may invent some new gadget to off you from this planet. So just, you know, be careful about that. And also on the other end of the spectrum, if you happen to have Pluto in the 11th house, unfortunately, you could see the death of a close friend or other friends. So, you know, I have to, unfortunately, you know how I do, I have to give the real. And sometimes it's not the things that people want to hear, but, you know, that's something that could maybe happen in your lifetime if you happen to have this placement. Also, I had mentioned plastic surgery in my last video, Neptune in the 11th. And this one even amplifies that because Pluto has to deal with transformation, evolution, and it does have to actually deal with surgical procedures and things like that. And y'all know how I talk about the 11th house. Aquarius energy is all about, it's like, it represents the LGBTQ community. So this is like 100% gender reassignment surgery. Like the person who came up with that probably was Pluto in the 11th house. Like that was able to actually discover that and invent that and ways to do it. And even like just like the hormones and all of that type of stuff. So it's so much easier now to get that type of surgery done. There's so much technology that's already out there. And this is going to continue to improve because, you know, Pluto is going to be in Aquarius and in the 11th house. And low-key prediction here. And this is like prediction for the future just because I'm in the Pluto in the 11th house thing. You know, HIV and AIDS has always been something that has been, you know, running rampant. And in the beginning stages, very particular to the LGBTQ community. But now it's like everybody, you know, can be impacted and stuff like that. That was really always the case, to be honest. But it was just kind of centered, you know, like society centered it around the LGBTQ community. But prediction, I predict that, and some people think that there's already a cure and things like that, you know, whatever. But I think that there would be like an actual like legitimate cure that like people are actually discussing, you know, and talking about and implementing. And not just for HIV AIDS, but most STDs. So I feel like that could be thing. Remember, Pluto represents sex. So we got to keep it, you know, technological advances applies to everything. It applies to sexual themes as well as, you know, medical procedures and things of that nature. So you have to keep all of that. You have to keep all of that in mind as well. Really great energy in terms of, you know, transforming government. Honestly, now Saturn represents the government, but Pluto does represent power. And I think that this is really going to be a time, Pluto and Aquarius, we're going back and forth here, but this is definitely going to be a time where the people can get the power back. And in terms of somebody who individually has this placement, this is something that you've already foreseen. This is something that you've already kind of prophesized. This is something that you've already, you know, predicted, and you take that into your own hands. You understand that you have the power of the people. So, you know, you use those Facebook groups, you use those avenues, your social media platforms, you know, everything it is that you are trying to do where you can appeal to a mass amount of people and, you know, really create that movement and really have those people support you towards, you know, being able to accomplish your goals, particularly as it pertains to legislation and the government. Maybe you're starting local and things like that, but this is a very influential energy to be able to do those types of things. Now, to kind of get back to the sex part, I know like that was like a really, really weird transition, right? Pluto in the 11th is a very, we're going to throw back in the word eccentric. This is a very interesting energy when it comes to sex. Very much will try and do anything. Like it's really like no holds bar when expressing sexuality, and you're already like forward thinking, and you know, you've been like let's say you're a much, much older person that has this placement, like you've already like been to the sex clubs and stuff like that. You've already been working it out, twerking it out, and all of that type of stuff. Like all this shit now, like what the kids are doing, like, you know, Cardi B and Megan's WAP, like that doesn't phase you. You've already been in these streets, like, because you already foreseen what was going to happen as far as sexual evolution. You know what I'm saying? And, you know, the advancements of technology, we're talking about toys, sex machines, sex dolls, like all of this type of stuff, like utilizing technology to get pleasure, and, you know, different ways of being able to, you know, earn money for sex, because sex sells. You're talking about the OnlyFans, and we're talking about, you know, the different, you know, online platforms, emphasis on online, because we're talking about the internet and social media, where, you know, you can be anyone's sexual fantasy doing pretty much anything, because anything can be sexy to somebody. And that is very Pluto in the 11th house, because the 11th house, like I always mention, is off the beaten path. It's quirky. It's different. You know, but you have to understand that there are a lot of different types of things that turn people on. That somebody could be watching a video on OnlyFans of a woman eating applesauce, and just the way that she's eating applesauce and licking the spoon could really turn somebody on. I mean, like, it's like for real, and they can get paid for that. You know what I'm saying? And Pluto in the 11th house, people, they understand this. This is like, somebody is going to like my feet, okay? Somebody going to like these corns on my feet. Somebody is going to like an elbow. You know what I'm saying? Somebody is going to like some weird ass shit sexually and stuff like that. But remember, this energy can be kind of perverted, like really perverted, So, you know, be careful of that peeping Tom energy that you may like give off, that kind of like, just be careful of that perversion and wanting to express your sexuality in not the most moral of ways. Yeah, so just remember that. We don't want to do that. And we don't want to mess with the children. Okay? All right. So I just had to put that out there, because especially if it's Pluto and Leo in the 11th house, I just had to say it. You know what I'm saying? But anyway, yes. So Pluto in the 11th house, definitely the evolution of sexual technology and advancement. Like, remember, you used to have to, like, you know, back in the 70s and 80s, like kids would, you know, go under their parents' beds and find like old Playboy magazines and VHS videos of like Deep Throat and stuff like that. Like now, all you got to do is go to Pornhub, YouPorn, XNXX, or OnlyFans and stuff like that. You can basically watch porn for the free. Okay. And there's so many outlets. Like, there's still a lot of people that pay for it. Don't get it twisted. But like, the internet has been a major, major, major boost, I feel, for the porn industry. So you can thank people with Pluto in the 11th house for this, because they're like, how can we revolutionize sex? You know what I'm saying? And the whole like LGBTQIA community is becoming more accepted, not completely accepted, but it's becoming, you know, more of the norm. This is the evolution of sex. This is the evolution of the way that we talk about sex, the way we look at sex, the way that we view sex. You know what I'm saying? So it's very, and technology being a strong driver in that. You have to understand, it's all about, you know, progression and things like that. So, you know, there's probably so many more things I can talk about with this placement. And this specific issue. Like, it almost kind of deserves its own video, like the evolution of sex as it pertains to astrology. So let me know if y'all want me to do that, because that could be kind of a fun one. But yeah, just Pluto is a very powerful presence in the 11th house. It's also cult-like. And remember when I was discussing in my Jupiter in the 11th house video, I was discussing Jim Jones, the 70s cult leader, and he had a lot of followers, but he was, killing them, you know what I'm saying? Or forcing them to commit suicide. A lot of them were, Black and brown people, unfortunately, and they were, in South America, and they really followed this man's doctrine and his religion and his spiritual beliefs, and they believed he was the religion. Like, they believed in him. You know what I'm saying? And I actually looked up his chart after I put out my Jupiter in the 11th house video. And what do you know? Because the astro theme actually confirmed his birth time. So this man had Scorpio on the 11th house cusp with Sagittarius intersecting. So basically that means that both Jupiter and Pluto were ruling his 11th house. Okay. So that's cult energy all day. Okay. So just understand that, like, I hope you're not somebody who's operating on the dark side of this energy, because you can really be really dark. Like, this is really like serial killer energy of masses, but masses that respected you and trusted you first. Do you understand what I'm saying? Like, that's basically this man. And I just found it like so ironic, because I was doing my Jupiter in the 11th house video and I was like, this is very, cultish. And I just had to look up his chart. So if I feel like it, I may insert his chart in this video so you can see, and I'll do a little circle thing so you can see, bam, Scorpio on the 11th, Sagittarius intercepted, because y'all know I deal with Placidus. I don't deal with equal signs. Okay. So anyway, I just had to get that out because I thought that was just like so incredibly interesting. Like, I was kind of like, when I feel a vibe or something, like I feel it. So I was like, okay, I was on it with that. He doesn't have planets in the 11th house, but those planets rule the 11th house. So make sure you keep that in mind too. Even if you don't have planets in the 11th house, you're looking to see what planet rules the 11th house. You know what I'm saying? So that's very important, right? So just be careful of that, of being able to use your power for good. Because if people with Pluto in the 11th house energy, if they really use their power for good, we could change the world for real. But I think it's too many people with those placements that are too evil and too maybe capitalistic and just too concerned with manipulating people and using propaganda and stuff like that. And that's very Pluto in the 11th house too, because propaganda, it's all about, misinformation, you know what I'm saying? And now with, social media and the internet, there's a lot of misinformation going around. So Pluto in the 11th house people, they do have the ability to have that influence. Like, I think the term influencer was probably coined by somebody with Pluto in the 11th house because they have the influence. You know what I'm saying? It's just about, are you going to use this influence in a positive way? Are you going to use this influence to be able to empower people? Are you going to be able to use this influence to enable people to see their own power? You know what I'm saying? Within themselves, and bring the power back to the people. So this is a very powerful placement. This is not some placement where you really need to be sitting on your ass and not doing nothing with yourself. If you got this placement and you just like, you kind of feel like you're worthless for whatever reason, I don't know why you would, but understand, like, you can make shit happen with this placement. Like, just, believe in yourself. You have the power of intuition. You have the power of just, influence, getting people on your side, getting people to trust you. You know what I'm saying? And being able to collaborate with different types of people to accomplish goals. Like, this is some badass energy, for real, for real. But, just use it for good. And you most definitely have a slick tongue. Most definitely have a slick tongue. And you're not afraid to die on these streets for something that you believe in. You're not afraid to do that. And you're not afraid to kill somebody to get to your goal. Pluto in the 11th house most definitely understands the notion of doing some bad things to get to the right place. I don't know if I said that right, but like, you know, you understand that sometimes things may have to be done through backdoor processes or, you know, illegally or something like that. It doesn't mean that like you are a bad person. It just means that you understand that this world is corrupt. You understand particularly that the government is corrupt. So unfortunately, you can't really go the straight and narrow way to be able to accomplish things and really make a difference. So, you know, you're definitely somebody who is going to, you're going to shake things up and you're going to make people listening to you by doing very controversial, crazy, outlandish things to really show the world and show people like, hey, this is a problem. This is an issue. And yes, I had to do this so that y'all could see it. You know what I'm saying? So this is very out there. This is very controversial. This is very, you know, conspiracy theory minded and, you know, these people don't give a fuck. They don't care what people think of them. They don't care. They just care about getting their message across. How it doesn't matter how outlandish or controversial or unpopular it is, because you know what they know that their influence is very powerful and that there are people that are going to come on this train. As many people as are not going to come on the train, they know that people are. So that's the power that Pluto in the 11th house has. So I will say it again, use it for good, be strategic, take down the bad guys. Take down the bad guys. Do all that bad shit to the bad guys, okay? And we know who the bad guys are, okay? The elites. The elites, the top 1%. Take them down. All right, so that is it for Pluto in the 11th house, and that is it for the planets in the 11th house series. I hope you enjoyed this video. If you happen to have this placement, let me know if these characteristics resonated with you. If you happen to have this placement, if you feel the power of Pluto in the 11th house, darling. And remember to like, comment, and subscribe, and also share your stories. And I'm really excited. As the next series of videos, we are going to be going into the 12th house. All right. So I know people have been waiting for that. I know 12th house Pisces, y'all are always last because that's just the way the zodiac goes. Is how we do it. But next series I do, I'm going to start with Pisces. I'm going to go backwards. So I'm going to do that, or, you know, whatever, that type of energy. So thank you guys all for watching. Remember to share and tell your friends, tell all of your friends, big, massive groups of people that are influential. Those people. All right. And once again, thank you so much. And I will see you in the next video. Bye.